smurl family haunting is the story of a Pennsylvania house that was said to be inhabited by demons. In August 1973, the Smurl family moved into a double-block house on Chase Street in West Pittston, Pennsylvania. Less than a year later, they began to experience misfortunes that they attributed to the presence of malevolent spirits. The attacks continued for over a decade until they finally moved out of the house in 1987. Before they left, the Smurl's tale gained the attention of demonologists, clergy, skeptics, paranormal investigators, reporters, and supernatural enthusiasts across the United States. This is The Devil in Pennsylvania, unveiling the Smurl family haunting. From the Amityville Horror House to the Winchester Mansion, people have long been thrilled by frightening and gruesome tales of haunted homes. Stories of demons in attics and spiritual attacks conjure up visions of dark, broken, and boarded-up windows, scary sounds, and lives spinning out of control. In the mid-1980s, just a few miles southwest of Scranton, Pennsylvania, the Smurl's house in West Pittston joined the list of notorious targets for demonic spirits, drew the curious to Chase Street, and became a media spectacle. Today, people still talk about the strange period in the neighborhood's history, and kids sometimes visit the Smurl's house after dark, hoping for a spooky encounter. The story begins in 1973, when the Smurls arrived in West Pittston, Pennsylvania. After Hurricane Agnes flooded their home in the nearby town of Wilkes-Barre, the Smurl family moved to a fixer-upper duplex on 330 Chase Street. Jack, Janet, and their 4 daughters lived on one side of the house, while the children's grandparents, John and Mary, lived on the other side. As the Smurls worked to upgrade the property, their troubles began. At first, the family attributed the odd noises they heard to the house's age. But soon, they felt a sense of malice as odd, vexing events started happening while they were at home. Tools disappeared as they worked, stains bled through fresh paint, and unplugged appliances would allegedly turn on and off. Terrible, sulfurous odors wafted through the house, but plumbers couldn't find any issues with the pipes. Despite these aggravations, the Smurls made every effort to create a happy abode, and for a while, life was good. Jack got a promotion at work and coached his daughter's softball team. Janet volunteered at the local high school. The daughters were doing well, the grandparents were content, and everyone was in good health. As time went on, the Smurls family ordeal took a chilling turn for the worse. Their once peaceful home began to feel as though it was harboring a malevolent presence, and the family found themselves besieged by a relentless series of unsettling events. Mary and Janet in particular began experiencing disturbing encounters with what they believed were phantom imposters. These eerie doppelgangers would assume the identities of the 2 women and maliciously sow discord within the family. Mary reported hearing the phantom Janet shouting curses, while her own imposter would call out Janet's name, creating an atmosphere of dread and confusion. According to their reports, swirling areas of darkness began to drift through the hallways, further deepening their sense of foreboding. The alleged spirits appeared increasingly intent on causing serious harm, and tragedy struck when Jack's mother suffered a heart attack amidst the escalating turmoil. The story then took a lurid and unsettling turn when Janet claimed to have been touched by a ghost during the early morning hours while sleeping beside her husband. Jack was roused from his sleep by eerie whispers and was horrified to witness a dark figure crawling near his wife's leg, while the mattress trembled under the influence of unseen forces. The alleged demonic attacks on the Smurl family escalated into physically dangerous encounters. A light fixture crashed down from the ceiling, tragically injuring one of their daughters. According to their accounts, a demon allegedly threw another daughter down the stairs and violently hurled their 75-pound German Shepherd against a wall. Janet claimed that an invisible entity had lifted her off the ground and held her suspended in midair before forcefully flinging her back into the room. Most nights became a nightmarish symphony of disturbing sounds, with grunting pigs and ear-splitting otherworldly howls echoing through their home. The terror was not confined to the family, as even neighbors reported hearing screams emanating from the house when the Smurls were absent. Of all the family members, it appeared that Jack bore the brunt of these harrowing experiences. He recounted a particularly disturbing encounter where a malevolent specter allegedly bit his ear. Even more distressing, he claimed that a succubus allegedly assaulted him while he innocently watched television. In another terrifying episode, Jack said that a demon brought him to his knees, forcibly dragged him across the floor, and subjected him to a severe beating while he desperately clung to the rosary for protection. By January 1986, the Smurl family found themselves in a state of desperation. They had turned to the Catholic Church for assistance, seeking relief from the relentless paranormal torment that had plagued their lives. However, the diocese expressed reluctance to intervene, citing a need for more concrete evidence. In their quest for salvation, the Smurls reached out to a renowned couple known for their expertise in dealing with the supernatural, Ed and Lorraine Warren. These demonologists, associated with the New England Society for Psychic Research, had achieved fame for their investigations into paranormal phenomena worldwide. Notably, they had delved into the notorious haunted house in Amityville, New York, and their adventures have inspired numerous works in the horror genre, including the immensely popular Conjuring movie franchise. Upon the Warrens' arrival in West Pittston, it didn't take long for them to assert that the Smurl home was a hotbed of abnormal spiritual activity. Ed Warren recalled feeling an eerie coldness and the presence of something sinister on his very first night at the house. As he wielded a crucifix and invoked the name of Jesus Christ, a dark form materialized, intensifying the sense of malevolence. In a statement to the Times Leader, a local Wilkes-Barre newspaper, Warren bluntly declared, quote, "The ghost, devil, demon, or whatever you call it, is in that home."
It's very powerful. It's invisible. I don't care if you want to call it a devil or a ghost or a demon. There's something in this home which has the intelligence to inflict physical and psychological harm upon this family.
While her husband prepared to confront this sinister entity, Lorraine Warren, who allegedly possessed clairvoyant and mediumistic abilities, embarked on a journey through the Smurls' home. She engaged with their daughters in an attempt to coax the spirits out into the open. After conducting various experiments, Lorraine concluded that 4 distinct psychic entities resided alongside the Smurl family. These entities included a benevolent older woman, a malevolent young girl, a man who had met a tragic end within the house, and a poltergeist that exercised control over the others. The Warrens held the belief that the head demon orchestrated the chaos caused by the other spirits, with the intention of tearing the family apart. Ed proposed that over time the demon had steadily amassed power since the Smurls moved in, employing cunning tactics to erode the family's mental and physical well-being. Although the entity remained intangible, it posed a grave threat to the Smurls' overall safety and tranquility. Ed Warren claimed to possess audio recordings of the demon's disturbing activities within the house. Furthermore, he reported witnessing items in the Smurls' bedroom mysteriously moving across the bureau and falling to the floor, seemingly untouched by human hands. Time and again, invoking the name of Jesus Christ, Ed commanded the malevolent spirits to depart from the Smurls' home. But their relentless presence defied his efforts. During this tumultuous period, the clergy in Scranton initially approached the Smurls' claims with uncertainty, hesitant to attribute the disturbances to demonic forces. However, as the gravity of the Smurls' situation became increasingly evident, the clergy began to take their plight more seriously. Reverend Gerald Mullally, the Chancellor of the Diocese of Scranton, expressed sympathy and understanding toward the Smurls, although he refrained from making definitive statements about the cause of the disturbances. In an effort to investigate further, he enlisted the assistance of Reverend Alphonsus Trebold, a theology professor at New York St. Bonaventure University. However, Trebold did not make the journey to visit the afflicted family. Nevertheless, several local priests from the parish began to visit the Smurls' home, performing blessings and prayers. Interestingly, none of these clergymen reported experiencing anything out of the ordinary during their time on the property. In a particularly bold move, a priest who hoped to witness firsthand the alleged demonic forces stayed at the Smurls' home for 2 nights. To his disappointment, he didn't encounter any supernatural activity. Simultaneously, church leaders grappled with the question of whether an exorcism was warranted. The Reverend Neil J. Van Loon, then secretary to Bishop James C. Timlin, offered various speculations about the factors contributing to the smurl's difficulties. However, the bishop refrained from making any public comments on the matter. In their quest for relief, the smurls turned to a priest from the neighboring state of Connecticut to perform an exorcism in their home. Unfortunately, this ceremony did not yield the desired results. Janet Smurl believed that when threatened, the spirits would elude capture by fleeing to the other side of the duplex. She also harbored a belief that these malevolent entities could energetically attach themselves to the family, even when they ventured outside the house, perhaps entering the family camper in their relentless pursuit. As their desperate attempts at spiritual interventions failed to expel the alleged malevolent entities tormenting their duplex, the Smurl family made the difficult decision to go public with their harrowing saga, hoping that someone, somewhere, might offer a solution to their nightmarish predicament. It didn't take long for their story to capture the attention of the media, and the news of the haunting rapidly spread like wildfire. Soon, a curious and concerned public began to gather outside the Smurl residence, setting up camp in a surreal display of fascination and empathy. Among the many who came forward, one notable visitor was Jason Miller, the actor renowned for his portrayal of Father Karras in the iconic film, The Exorcist. Miller, intrigued by the unfolding events, expressed his belief that something unusual was indeed happening within the Smurl's home. However, he stopped short of categorizing it as necessarily demonic in nature. The story's growing notoriety drew the attention of various news outlets, both large and small. Media giants such as CNN and CBS, along with the New York Post and numerous smaller stations in New York and Philadelphia, dispatched reporters and camera crews to West Pittston to cover the unfolding supernatural drama. Before long, the Smurl family found themselves thrust into the spotlight, becoming the reluctant stars of a media circus that unfolded in three-ring fashion, with their haunting story at its center. While the Smurls had garnered the support and belief of many seekers of supernatural truth, they also faced a considerable number of skeptics and doubters. These skeptics ranged from local newspaper columnists to experts well-versed in psychic and paranormal phenomena, and they adamantly labeled the hauntings as nothing more than a hoax. Paul Kurtz, at the time serving as the chairman of the Committee for the Scientific Investigation of Claims of the Paranormal and a professor of philosophy at the State University of New York, cast doubt on the Smurls' credibility. He argued that the family's accounts lacked objectivity and credibility, going so far as to assert that the Warrens, who were assisting the Smurls, were non-credentialed outsiders with questionable motives, rather than being part of reputable scientific or parapsychological communities. Other experts echoed this sentiment, deeming the hauntings as suspicious and seemingly contrived. In a bid to debunk the Smurls' claims, the mentalist known as the Amazing Kreskin, George Joseph Kresge Jr., embarked on a mission in October 1986. He aimed to demonstrate how physical disturbances could occur without any supernatural or demonic intervention. Kreskin used psychological tricks to illustrate to news reporters how people could be convinced that seemingly violent accidents had supernatural origins, when, in reality, they were rooted in mundane causes. Kurtz went further, suggesting that the Smurls might benefit from psychiatric assistance and that they were using demonology as a means to explain away the challenges in their lives. This assertion was met with staunch objection from the Smurls themselves, who maintained that their experiences were witnessed by at least 30 family members and neighbors. They believed that the help being offered was not addressing the very real and distressing phenomena they were enduring. When the Smurls chose to make their story public, they were unprepared for the overwhelming media frenzy that would engulf them. What initially began with a glimmer of hope and excitement soon devolved into an exhausting and intrusive barrage of reporters, constantly calling their house and descending upon their doorstep at all hours. Their neighbors, too, found their lives disrupted as a parade of outsiders disrupted the normal flow of daily life. One resident, Bill Watson, vividly remembers the intensity of the situation, stating, quote, "CNN was here on my porch. There was a camera crew from Germany in my driveway. There were so many people I could hardly get my car out to go to work." The relentless media attention had turned their quiet neighborhood into a chaotic and unwelcome spectacle. 3 decades later, Karen Smurl, one of the family's daughters, reflected on those tumultuous times in an interview with the Pittston Progress. She revealed that the family had endured harassment, with people knocking on their house and even throwing bricks. Karen emphasized that they had never profited from the book or movie adaptations of their story, emphasizing that enduring the media scrutiny and public criticism was an ordeal that they wouldn't wish upon anyone. Overwhelmed and unable to find the relief they sought, the Smurl family ultimately decided to escape from West Pittston in 1987. They packed their bags, bid farewell to their haunted home on Chase Street, and relocated back to Wilkes-Barre, hoping for a respite from the relentless supernatural torment. Interestingly, the occupants who moved into the duplex after the Smurls' departure reported no unusual occurrences during their stay. Deborah Owens, who moved in during February 1988, stated that she had never experienced any paranormal activity while living in the duplex, a sentiment echoed by a man who resided on the other side of the house. It is speculated that the new residents may have been spared from harm because the malevolent spirits followed the Smurls to their new home. The family continued to grapple with supernatural troubles until a church-sanctioned exorcism performed in 1989 finally liberated them from their years-long persecution, bringing an end to their haunting ordeal. Following the Smurls' departure from West Pittston, doubts about the authenticity of their haunting story persisted. In 1988, Robert Curran, a staff writer for the Scrantonian Tribune, collaborated with the Warrens to write The Haunted, One Family's Nightmare, a book published by St. Martin's Press. While the book aimed to delve into the Smurl family's experiences, it faced criticism for being one-sided and lacking scientific credibility. Despite its mixed reception, The Haunted served as the basis for a 2-hour made-for-TV movie released in May of 1991, starring Sally Kirkland as Janet Smurl. The film, titled The Haunted, has since become a cult favorite, offering viewers a blend of familiar haunted house horror tropes and a gripping portrayal of the Smurl family's escalating ordeal. The question of whether the Smurl family haunting was a genuine case of demonic activity or a quest for attention and financial gain remains shrouded in ambiguity. Only the family themselves truly know the answer. Regardless of one's belief, it is undeniable that their haunting tale captivated the public's imagination and left an indelible mark in the annals of American horror stories. When Jack Smurl passed away in June 2017, area newspapers commemorated his memory with detailed obituaries. Karen Smurl, Jack's daughter, reflected on her father's legacy, stating, quote, "We had such a hard time and nobody to turn to. Hopefully Janet and the children will be able to live out the remainder of their lives in harmony and eventually rest in peace."